Welcome to the Business Spotlight Podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your host for today's episode. And today on the show, I have Bart Cleveland, founder of Job Propulsion Lab, as my guest. We're going to be learning about his business, his journey to business ownership, best practices that he's learned, and challenges he's faced to give you that inside look to what it's like to build and operate a business. Welcome, Bart. It's so great to meet you. Thanks for being on the
Well,
show.
it's a pleasure to be here, and I really thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Well, excited to dive into our conversation. But before we get into all things business, let's share a little bit about you. So take us back as far as you'd like and share a bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I won't go too far back or it'll be a long story, but I've been in the advertising business, advertising industry for over 40 years, and I've been partners in a couple of agencies over a 20-year period. I had an agency in Atlanta that worked on clients like Coca-Cola and the Ritz-Carlton and James Hardy Siding. And we were actually a smaller agency, a small independent agency, but we had a lot of success. The 4A's named us in 2002, I believe, or 2001 as the most creative small agency in the country. So we had a lot of success and a lot of fun. And over the years, I have always been involved with the education aspect of our industry and teaching as a guest speaker or guest lecturer at various schools. And that's what prompted me to start Job Propulsion Lab in 2012.
Oh, well, this is going to be a great conversation because I'm excited to dive into kind of your like what the business is. And so 2012 you started. So tell us or tell me a little bit about how like was there a light bulb moment or how did this come about? You're like, I need to start a business.
Well, as I said, I always been involved with the educational aspect, and that's really because I had a professor in college who was a professional in the industry. He was purely teaching out of a passion to help young people get into a very competitive industry. And so my involvement with that was always kind of anchored to paying back. And in 2012, I kind of reviewed like where I was in my career and thought, what do I like the most about my day? And it was really mentoring the young people that worked for us and going to the schools. And I thought, could I formalize that? So I wrote up a business plan, didn't have a name yet, wrote up a business plan, and I shared it with friends. And one of them was Brian Jesse, who I had gone to school with back in the day. And Brian Jesse is a partner at McGarrah Jesse with Mark McGarrah. And they were both just blown away by the idea of doing this customized training versus using the current academic model that the industry had been using from the beginning.
Hmm. Okay, that's very incredible. So now when you got started, how did you make it happen? It's because it's like how did you go from idea to, living, breathing product service?
You know how it came about is I had been training my own employees. I had been going to the schools and training people. And I had made a lot of mistakes in my career, so I learned from my own doing. But my goal was always to do, great creative work, to do work of note in our industry. And so there was this very high bar that I set for myself in my own career. And that really is the dream for most people that get into advertising. They usually are very passionate about it and they want to achieve success, but it is a complicated and competitive business. So it really needs a curated training model, and it didn't exist. So I just sat down and wrote out, here's exactly the way that I think it should be done. It's one-on-one, it's customized to the individual, and it starts with a blueprint that sets them up to start their career at the right place so the trajectory of their career ends up where they want to be in the end, what do they see as success? And sometimes we help them figure that out along the way.
Oh, wow. I like that. And now with your current the company as it is now, how many employees do you have on staff?
Well, we're structured in a kind of a very, very simple structure. I'm the primary mentor and coach, and then we have mentors that are professionals. So they're not employees per se, they're volunteers. A lot of them come from my business partner's company, McGarrett Jesse, but all around the country, all around the industry, I have contacts from my years in the industry and get these people to interact with those that we're training so they're getting the professional perspective. So we're very, very simply constructed as a company, but that is a need because we need to be able to be very flexible and customizable to the individual we're helping.
Okay, okay. So it's you and you have a partner, correct? Is that
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, wonderful. Now, looking at the your company now, where do you see it growing? Say, let's start with 2026.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty optimistic about the growth potential of Job Propulsion Lab because I'm seeing a trend, especially in our industry and in general, about the education model, the higher education model.
Hmm.
You've probably heard stories, a lot of stories about, education debt. A lot of people go to college, they get a degree, they have a lot of debt that is associated with that. And the job market being what it is, they're not finding the jobs. Now, this is a general rule of thumb right now with the economy where it is, but it's always been that way in advertising. The academic model for training people in advertising has always been a few steps behind where the industry actually is. And that's just because of the way the academic model is structured, how fast it can move and accelerate to be current. And then also the industry itself is a very competitive industry and they do not have, I would say, the inclination or the time to train people on the job that they used to have decades before. So the potential for our model to grow in our industry is very good, but I think the potential of one-on-one coaching for skill sets is a good model in general for education, for higher education. Skills are the future of careers, I believe. And if you can have a coach that can show you, it's a really old model. It's the apprentice and master model, is what it is. And you can condense, I mean, literally, we condense the education of 4 to 6 years of college education in our for our industry into a 6 month program. And that is really a great appeal to those that want to be in our industry because most of them don't realize what they don't have to get into the industry until after they've graduated from college.
That's true. I mean, I studied like marketing and advertising a little bit in school, and then by the time I was done with school, the whole like social media started to take over and I was like, well, I missed all that. So that makes a lot of sense now. So are you so what is that like industry like? I mean, I kind of want to bring in some AI conversation. Just how has AI been affecting your company and are you using AI?
A lot of companies are using AI. Our industry, as well as others, obviously are being affected by AI. Where that shakes out for our industry, I think it is much like all technology that has come into our industry. For example, when I started my career, the computer came into the industry as a tool for production and design and things like that. And it was disruptive. But early adopters, and I was one, really benefited from that. A lot of the claim is it'll be detrimental to the quality of the work. Well, my view is the quality of our work has always had good and bad examples.
Mhm.
The tool just makes those that want to do good work better at doing good work because it makes it more efficient, them more capable of doing things. AI really will shake out to be the same thing. It is not, there will be people that will use it as a replacement of creativity, of idea generation, things like that. But for those that are companies that are interested in building brands that really connect and have a relationship with their customer, that AI is never going to do that. Now, AI will be a tool to help those that are experts at doing it do it more efficiently, but it won't replace them.
Like that's
So
very
we
powerful.
train people
Mm.
in using AI tools, but with that philosophy in mind that their mind is the source of creativity. AI is a tool to help them efficiently get to the best ideas and then craft those ideas in the most ideal way possible.
Definitely. And so now I want to see what's your big picture. So where do you see your company going here in the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Well, scalability is a challenge in this type of model because it it takes an accomplished professional to be a mentor. So someone whose skill set is high, whose accomplishments are beyond dispute. I mean, they have succeeded in the industry, but they have this spirit of a mentor. And that means it's a labor of love. And so, one of the things in scaling is finding people that possess those three attributes. They're accomplished, they have high skill set, and they have the aptitude and the inclination to share their knowledge, to share their skills with the dedication to the amount of time it takes to do it. I have a lot of mentors that fit the first two categories, but they're in the middle of their busy careers. And so the commitment to time is a difficult one. It comes more at a more senior level where someone has a little more flexibility of time, but they just have to have kind of this passion, like they have to share it with others. And that requires patience and it requires kind of a altruistic attitude. So scalability is finding those individuals that fit those three criteria. We do that, and I think as the model that the way we're doing it grows in acceptance, and it has grown more and more in acceptance, but it has a way to go. We will see not only JPL doing it on a more broader scale, but others doing it as well. And I could see this model becoming more prevalent in other industries as well.
Definitely. So that kind of like that's sharing some light on marketing. So how has the marketing been going? You said people are starting to adopt and they're starting to like see the value. How it has that been?
Well, our marketing is very organic. I mean, being a smaller company, we are not spending a great deal of money on, formal marketing like running ads or doing things like that. It's more of sharing our product with people through social channels and other means, like volunteering to go to schools or to organizations and doing workshops and things like that. And what that creates is the reputation of being an effective way to learn this skill for this industry. Also, our we have a wonderful referral system from professionals that know about us, but also from our own graduates of our program. We get the majority of our referrals come from people that have either gone through the program or are very involved with our program. And that that and word of mouth. And then I remember we have literally trained people uh, in this country and outside of this country. I've trained people in Europe. I've trained people in South America, but most of them come from the U.S. And sometimes I'll get someone and the connection of how they got to us is a little vague. And I'll ask them. And I remember I asked one person, "How did you hear about us?" And they said, "Oh, I was just reading a thread on Reddit and you made a comment. And it just was so unique in the way it approached the problem that I had to reach out to you." So a lot of it's organic, a lot of it is being engaged with this group of people that want to be in this industry. We're a fairly small industry, so it can be intimate that way.
Hmm. That's really cool to hear. Thank you for sharing about that. Now, I want to kind of dive into like, of course, you know how business owners, there's always challenges of being a business owner. So I like to shed light on some of the things that business owners are going through to find growth. And so what's something you're currently challenged with in the company?
Um, can you rephrase that? Because I didn't hear that real clearly. I want to make sure I understood your question.
Yes, I was asking what is something that you've been challenged with in growing in the company?
I think it goes back to what I was saying before. It's finding those individuals. The way I put it is you just can't help but do this. It's just, I've had people reach out to me and say, if you ever need anyone to help coach these young people or coach individuals, I'm here for you. And those are the types of individuals that we seek to have us work with us on an ongoing basis. Uh, People are so busy in this industry that even those that desire that sometimes can hesitate. So I think the largest or biggest obstacle for us would be recruiting the most capable people. And they, like I said, they have those three qualities. They have the proven track record, they have the high level skills, and they have the aptitude and the desire to share their knowledge and coach other people.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is something that makes a lot of sense. You know, hiring is always like the challenge, and these are volunteers you mentioned, correct? Or are they going to be hired for like on a W-2 or anything like that?
Uh, well, I don't know. It's would be kind of case by case. It would be more of a contracted position, like a 1090 versus a W-2. Like I say, we try to keep our organization and our structure very, very simple, overhead low, which keeps our prices low. So, for example, talking about price, one of the things that's very appealing to people that have gone out and they have 50, 60 or thousand or more in school debt for getting a 4 year or 6 year degree. And that's the other thing. Our industry and academia tell people in advertise that want to be in advertising, oh, you have to go to graduate school. Well, to go to 6 years of school and incur that expense to get into advertising, uh, me and my partners and I, we just don't believe that that is something you should ask of individuals when it's not necessary. So our price point, we keep our price point very low, which is why we keep our business structure and our overhead very minimal. It's a labor of love that we believe in. And yes, we want to scale it because why? Because we want more and more people to have access to it. But it's it's one of those things where, and I was mentioning price, so literally 10%. If it costs $60,000 to pay tuition to get a degree in advertising, our 6 month program costs $6,000.
Mm,
So for a very minimal amount, and you're getting intense one-on-one training, the first thing we do is we do an assessment that figures out who they really are, how they would fit into the business, what are the best companies that would match up with them and give them the greatest opportunity. So that's the first thing we do. Well, something like that in academia is just unheard of. You go into a class, you sit in a group of people, you're given an assignment, you fulfill the assignment, you get a grade, you get an accumulation of grades, you get those points, eventually you get a degree. There's no customization, there's no individuality about it.
Mm,
Whereas everything we believe about what makes you successful in advertising is your individuality. And you being in the right place at the right time with the right skills will ensure a lot of happiness in your career versus a lot of frustration.
very true. That's a golden nugget of this conversation. That makes a lot of sense. Well, this has been a great conversation so far, and now I want to take us through our rapid fire Q&A. So I'll be asking you 4 questions and just answer very top of mind.
Okay.
All right. Question number 1 is what is the key to success for you?
The key to success for me is knowing that I've changed someone's life.
Mm,
That's success to me. I changed their life for the better.
wonderful. Number 2 is what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
That's an easy one. You must know your why.
Mm,
Why do you do what you do? Because if you know your why, then it comes through authentically through your product, through your customer experience, through the way you speak about and promote your company. If you don't know your why, everything you talk about is going to be what you do and how you do it, which is commodity compared to your competitors. So know your why. That's the best advice I can give. Find out what your why is and then be genuine and authentic about translating that to your customer.
that's a powerful one. I'm going to write that down. That's a great reminder. Um, okay, the third one is this is a fun one. So, what is it could be a book, a podcast, an article, just anything that's really resonated with you recently.
When I saw that question before, I thought she is going to think my answer is crazy. But the latest book that I read is The Singularity is Nearer by Ray Kurzweil. Now, Ray Kurzweil wrote a book in about, I don't know, 20 years ago called The Singularity is Near. This is about AI.
Mm.
And Singularity is Nearer was because of the advancements of AI. Now, why am I reading a book about this? Well, it's research because one of the fun things I do is I write, and I'm writing a novel, and this is about the subject AI and technology and all that. So that's why I read that book. The Singularity is Nearer.
I just looked that up. That looks like a great read. Well, thank you for sharing that. And now we have our final question. And again, take your time on this one, actually. So if I gave you a magic wand and you
Mm.
could rapidly improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
I think it's the scalability question that you had brought up before. If I could have a dream of what does the training and education of our industry look like, it would be our model scaled up. It would be internally within companies. They'd be training, they'd have dedicated training this way.
Mm.
Academia would be more hand in hand with the industry to be up to what is going on exactly right now. I mean, just a little side. I was asked to be a part of a group tank for helping a university improve. And I found out after that that it was going to take 5 years for them to implement it. That makes it irrelevant. You have to move faster than that. So scalability of how we do things, that would be my dream.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Again, this has been a great conversation, and I would love to connect folks with you and your company online. So feel free to share your contact info.
My contact information, well, jobpropulsionlab.com is our website, of course. And is that what you're asking me? My contact? Okay. And
Yeah.
then you can, if you have questions, I mean, if you go to our site, we have free resources like an assessment. You can get a free assessment of your career. We have a free course. But if you want to just talk to me a little bit, ask some advice, my email is bart@jobpropulsionlab.com. You can also find us on social media, on LinkedIn, Instagram, the usual suspects.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bart. For our final question today, what is most inspiring to you today?
I'm sorry, repeat that, please.
What is most inspiring to you today?
You know what inspires me most today is the fire of creativity is just as hot as it's ever been. The young people that I coach, their desire to use their creativity, to use their imaginations is inspiring. And so that they inspire me. They make what I do, and even in my professional realm of being still a professional in advertising, they are the ones that make me have hope for our industry, remain as creative as it can be. So I'm inspired by the young people.
Ah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Bart. This has been a great conversation. It's a joy to have you on the show.
Such an honor to talk to you and share these things. So thank you so much for the invitation.